Hey, there we go. See if we can get stuff a little more in frame here. There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. TK here, TK and Drinks. As always, on a Tuesday night, we've got the Tuesday Night Live. We've got a special edition, a Tuesday Night Live coming at you today. It's the Mead Stampede. Brewers, home brewers, and judges and sponsors level event tonight. So, thank y'all for being here tonight. Got everybody showing up already. Let's start getting these cats in here. So tonight we're gonna have 3 guests joining me in a panel discussion. We got some questions. We'll be taking all sorts of questions from viewers coming in. So if you want to ask some questions, go ahead and get in early and get those in, and we'll try to field those as quick as possible. Sean from NEK Meads. He is a sponsor there at the Mead Stampede. We're going to be joined by Carlos from Texas Longhouse Meads. I would say his last name, but I'm sure I would butcher it. He's a sponsor and also, I believe, a judge at the BJCP or at the Mead Stampede. He's just recently got his BJCP passed his written exam. So let's go ahead and give him a fat collaboration. Hello and thank you and congratulations on that. And it looks like we got the invite out there. So whenever he clicks that, we'll be in. Kyle, thank you for joining me. Didn't see you. I had too many other screens open.
Hey.
And I would like to caution everybody, please volumize yourself as much as possible. If you can, get your volume all the way up there. Oh, Carlos got the headsets on. We know his volume is going to be on point, like always, like a professional. Look at this guy making us all look like clowns. With that epic beard and his post-vacation glow.
I look good.
Looking good, brother. Looking good. How you doing tonight?
I can't complain at all, man.
Well, you could, but nobody want to hear it anyway.
Yeah.
Kyle, how about you? How you doing tonight, brother? Good?
Pretty great, pretty great. Beautiful day in Vermont.
Oh, man, I would love a beautiful day in Vermont. It was about 113 and sweaty and muggy as shit here in Phoenix. So we are waiting on Stephen Phillips, also known as Sidetrack over there, Sidetrack Mead. We're going to actually probably just get going, and whenever he shows up, he shows up. If he doesn't, we'll get some other cats popping in here and do a little round table type of discussion. So, as stated in the title, tonight we are doing a Mead Stampede interview with the sponsors and some judges and people involved with the Mead Stampede issue. Anybody who knows, or for the people who don't know, I should say, rather, what Mead Stampede is. Mead Stampede is a homebrew competition put on by a collective of YouTube brewers, started by Man-Made Mead and Doing the Most. They've got Big Rob over there. They've got Dog Fetch Stick over there. They've got Faywood Mead, Miss Mandy over there with them. They got a couple other cats. So this is the second year that this has been going on, and they've, like I said, a collection of homebrewers send in the meads, and they're judged by these cats and a panel of people that they've selected, and that's kind of where we're at now for our second year. Carlos, you've got a little more insight on that. Why don't you let us know what you know?
I'm pretty much this year. I'm just being somebody messed up and messaged me and be like, "Hey, would you like to be a guest judge this year?" And me being the man that I am, I love me, so I couldn't say no. So I said yes. And so they reached out and they're like, "All right, here's the dates, whatever." Then everything kind of started going through, and I was like, "Hey, it's the second year. I know last year they were trying to get everything going. They did a live stream. I think it was for the not quite award show, but to announce the winners or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, here's $100. Take everybody out. Well, this year I was like, how can trying to help sponsor, promote. Let's get this thing off the ground. Let's make another awesome meat competition. And so this year I was like, hey, I want to be a sponsor, whatever. So, I paid the sponsor fee, and I was like, man, I want to take this up another level. And so this year I am giving the Best of Show winner 12 pounds of macadamia blossom honey.
Dude, yeah, I saw that on there, man. That's a pretty pretty solid push on your part, my man. That's a good come up for a winner over there.
Oh yeah, at least I like to think so. I've never personally used it, but I've had a couple meads from several people that use macadamia blossom, and it's phenomenal. So,
and I can only assume that's going to be from our brother Sean over there at Wokalei Honey there in Hawaii.
I wish it was, but this one was from Hawaiian ATS honey or ATS Hawaiian honey.
It's a Hawaiian macadamia nut blossom honey regardless.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right on, my man. Well, that's very awesome. And then Kyle, you are also as well a sponsor. You're sponsoring one of the categories, right?
Yeah, I'm sponsoring the sizer category. I thought it'd be a cool thing to sponsor because usually sizers are usually put into the fruit and spice category.
Right.
Just because apples are so easily doctored up with spices, and that's the usual trend. So I wanted to sponsor something that was kind of unique to my taste, but also something that I thought would be a little bit underrepresented. And what I'm doing that's special for my end of things is I'm going to give the winner of the sizer category a bottle of barrel-aged sizer that I have going right now in my barrel.
Hell yeah, man. That's freaking awesome. Way to go, Kyle, man. So whoever wins the sizer category is going to get a nice little secondary comeuppance. That's pretty freaking kick-ass.
Yeah, and being from Vermont, we have amazing apples up here, and I just love sizers in general. It's a fantastic pairing with honey, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Nice. And it looks like Steven over there is sponsoring the semi-sweet category for traditionals. Sidetrack is, so let's hope he eventually pops on here real quick and we can get to talk to him about that. Considering sponsoring it. So that was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask both of you, because I'm assuming both of you have entries in the competition as well. Did you feel, you don't have any interest in there, Carlos?
No, I don't want to, with being a guest judge, I don't want to put my own entry because then, as a judge, be like, okay, yeah, this is mine, I'm going to step back. They're trying to set it up so that way, if a guest judge that's there wanted to enter, of course, they'd have to know this is the category he's in, so he's not going, or she are not going to judge this category. But I didn't want to swing anything or try to, especially since I'm donating honey, I didn't want to take away the potential for somebody else. Like, say, for instance, if my mead did good, I didn't want to be the one to take the chance away from somebody else, winning. So,
right.
So I decided not to enter any meads for this one.
And see, that's why I didn't sponsor, because I really wanted to enter the competition. I was really debating it. I was like, man, I would feel so sketch if I entered the competition and won. And I was like the title sponsor, because I was really pushing for that. And I was like, I just can't bring myself to do it and enter a whole bunch of categories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not entering any sizers, so I felt comfortable with that in terms of sponsoring category wasn't entering.
Yeah, see, and I'd reached out to them, and they had really wanted me to not sponsor a category. Like, we would prefer you sponsor like on a above an event level. So I was like, I don't have a problem doing that. It's not an issue, but I really want to enter in the competition. I still, again, feel like if I was entering at the level of, Texas here or the Mad equipment place, I feel like I would have been kind of doing a disservice to the process. And before I get too far ahead of myself, thank you for joining us tonight, Steven. How you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I am doing great. Sorry for the being late.
No,
I could do this on my computer, and I updated it, but I'm back on the phone. So
I've yet to get it to work on the computer. If anybody ever does get that to work, please holler at me and let me know, because I cannot get that to work for me for my anything. So, so we were just talking about our sponsorships and whatnot. So it looks like you're sponsoring the semi-sweet traditional category.
yes, that's correct.
I'm assuming you don't have any then, or I guess I'm going to guess you don't have any entered in that category.
I did not enter any meads in Mead Stampede this year.
Oh, okay.
Knowing that I was going to be coming on as a guest judge,
Mhm.
I figured, yeah, I didn't want to enter anything in, and just it kind of limits your panel too. I want to taste them all. I want to see how things are going. You know, I want to participate as much as I can, and you know, so
Yes.
Category, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I've got one out there that's in the competition, so I talked about it a bunch, probably way too much, but I'm hoping that it at least does some sort of honorable mention, or at least people enjoy the flavor profile. That's as long as I get something like, you know, hey, it doesn't taste like rocket fuel, I think I'll be good to go.
Yeah.
That's the hard part about being a guest judge is, there's a lot of people that follow me on here, and I follow them back as well. And
Yeah.
you'll start as soon as I see, oh, my entry for me Stampede, I'm like, scroll real fast.
Excellent call there, Carlos. I appreciate the dignity you have, my man. Again, that's one of the reasons why I love you. So, all right, me Stampede. So this is our second year that we've been going on. First year, did either of you guys have any entries in there?
Yes.
I did, yeah.
And how did you guys do? Carlos first.
Yeah.
I think I had two in there. One was my hot mango habanero, and I scored a 43 with that one.
That was a good one. I like that one.
And then my mixed berry, I had that one still, because I knew it was missing something, and it just needed a little bit more pop, brightness. And if I'd have carbonated like I normally would have, it would have been good to go. I think I would have scored a lot higher, but because it wasn't carbonated, I scored like a 36, I think it was.
Well, the reason you didn't win is because you didn't put that peach one in there. Your peach one is phenomenal. You would have won with that. That is absolutely your best mead, hands down. Steven, what did you enter last year?
A dry traditional, which it did okay. The
dry traditional, that's a tough category to win, brother.
Yeah.
Or even to do it all.
And I was still really kind of dialing things in. I learned a lot from it. And swapping out honey varietal too. So like that meadow foam traditional you had, that session mead. It was a very similar recipe. It was kind of dialed a little bit differently and with a different varietal. Can't remember off the top of my head which one I used. And then I did the hibiscus that you had. I submitted that, and that does the same. It always gets like like a 39.
Yeah.
It always does like the same everywhere it goes. And I think it's because it's tart, and it's not a balanced mead. It's tart.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a sour beer, but that's how I did it. And then I did the peanut butter and jelly, which landed me the blue ribbon in experimental.
Yes. And then Kyle, what did you enter in there last year?
Yeah, so I entered 3 meads. This was a competition where I entered some stuff that I wasn't too sure about, and I was really after the feedback and just wanting to see how I can improve my process. I entered a Tupelo traditional semi-sweet. There were some fermentation faults with that one, and I just need to let it age longer. I cracked it open after a year from pitch, and it was a lot better then, but I got in the mid-30s with that. I got low 30s with a piment that I made from grapes that are local to Vermont, and I redid that batch this year, and it was so much better, and I got a silver medal at a competition with that. And then I made a really, really dry blood orange and cranberry mead, and that combination just showed me like I needed to work on my balancing game. All of the feedback that I had, I really wanted to work on my balancing game. So I feel like it was really worthwhile and impactful in my mead making journey to submit things that I wasn't like 100% about. Like at that point, I had some berry bombs that were really good, but at the same time, it's
Nice.
like I wasn't going for that wasn't like a risky mead where some of these were risky. This year, I'm not sending as risky of meads, but just because I know like my mead making's gotten better.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, that's all I'm sending in is risky meads. I got, I mean, with me having such little experience under my belt, everything I'm sending in is going to be a total freaking crapshoot. But I'm hoping that at least people, like I said, people enjoy what I send in and call it good from there.
And you'll learn from it. You know, you'll.
Mhm.
I think a big part of it, and what I feel like everybody like BC stresses a lot too. A lot of winner, and they'll just kind of be very blunt. Where you know, the staffing in this has been very keen on making sure that it's a here to help everyone get better, and it's a friendly competition. You know, so as much positive feedback along with helpful information on, you know, new opportunities to grow that mead is what he's just pushing that. And I think it's really
Absolutely.
different vibe than a lot of the competitions that I've been in or judged. You know, was kind of thinking that the other day when I really was writing one out, and it just seemed it kind of seemed like I was being a little unpleasant, but I was also being very blunt to this group, and I was just like, and I was like, you know, I gotta avoid that. So I'm hoping to work on that too. I'm over there in Oklahoma.
Well, as somebody who's, you know, I've done a tiny bit of judging, and, you know, this could be my first experience with getting critique as far as homebrew goes. But, you know, I have an art history background and an art background. Like, I'm used to critiques. I'm used to that. Like, I want that brutal, like, harsh, honest criticism. You know, I think people benefit most from that like, it has to be constructive though. Like, you know, it can be brutal, it can be honest, but it has to be constructive. You know, when you get that, you know, that American Idol type of just talking shit about it for the sake of, you know, potentially viewership, or for the, you know, sake of I'm better than you or whatever, that shit doesn't work. But when you get that harsh, honest criticism with a nice constructive background to it, I think that benefits everybody across the board. You know, if you can take it, you can take it. If you can't, you can't. But unfortunately, the facts are the facts, and that's the great thing about facts, is they're true whether you like them or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, go ahead.
Carlos there for passing the BJCP exam, man.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
you definitely have to know a little bit more than just the basics to, like, there's some variety, like honeys. It was asking me about flavor profiles of certain honeys, and I was like, I've never even had this honey, so
Yeah.
I'm, you know, just trying to go through, and you have to understand honey profiles to kind of even remotely guess. Like, I've never had heather before, and they're like, oh, you know, what's the flavor? And I'm like, well, I don't know. So
Right.
but just understanding honey and reading the options there, and you're like, all right, so okay. And then, of course, you have to understand process. You have to know flavors, like a wide range of flavors, fruits, spices, apples, oranges.
Yep.
You know, it was insane. I was like, I'd never, you know, I didn't think it was gonna be that hard, but and it took me until like 30 seconds before the end of the time was up to complete all 200 questions. I was like, man, this was a nightmare.
Yeah, I think it averages out to like 18 seconds a question or something like that. It is intense. I was definitely not prepared for anything of that caliber when I took that shit.
Yeah.
It's definitely the harder part of the BJCP exam is the test, the online. Because once you pass that test, I mean, I feel like even for beer, if you get like a 60% on your tasting exam, you're still technically in. You're just at a certain level on beer. You're like under the recognized or something like that.
The provisional.
Yeah, you're in like a provisional area.
Correct. Yeah.
You still got the BJCP thing. You know, you just got to
Yep.
work up at that point. Yeah, yeah. But I think
Yep.
Mead only 2 levels. It's 80% and higher and under.
Correct.
Yeah, I barely missed that 80. I was so bummed.
When did you take your test?
I took mine in February 12th, and I got the results back, I think last month or earlier this month.
Of this year? February of this year?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I was just talking to Carvin the other day. I took mine back in October of last year, and I still haven't got my results yet.
Oh, my goodness. Really?
They told us at Mazer Cup, they said it's going to be a minimum of 8 to 10 months. Don't even start to ask us before 8 to 10 months. So at 8 months, I was like, hey, anything about this yet? And yeah, nothing, unfortunately, is the case. But
That's insane.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Tracy.
what I said too. I was like, this seems like, and they said that was standard for non-COVID years as well. As like, yeah, that's pretty standard for for history. I'm like, really? 8 to 10 months in normal times? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Tracy mentions that the tough part's finding a tasting exam, and
Yep.
that was absolutely the case for me. Like, I'm traveling to Minneapolis to go to Valkyrie's Horn for my tasting, and I'm over here in Vermont. Like, that's not a little drive. That's making a weekend out of it. You know, we're really dedicated in this hobby, and
Yes.
people flying out to Oklahoma or making that long drive and helping out with Mead Stampede. Like, you guys are great for doing that, and I'm hoping to join next year in some capacity. But that's what it takes in this hobby, is to be passionate and to put yourself out there, connect with people. It's great.
You've got your test in as well, don't you, Kyle?
Yeah, I did my online entrance exam back in February.
So you're still in. What's the tasting event you have, or what's the closest one to you?
I think when I was looking at I made the trip to Minnesota. Like, I got that time off of work, and I saw it was for the Valkyrie's Horn competition, and that one's a really big one. And they're doing like a lot of different events for that. Like, they're doing a orange blossom kind of terroir kind of thing, where it's like California, Mexican, and Florida orange blossom traditionals up against each other. They do a lot of really cool things. Last year, BC went up there, and there was like, I don't know, maybe 50 to 60 traditionals that were on deck, and it just seems like a really cool competition to travel to and help out judge and take that tasting exam. I think the closest one physically to me is over in like Pittsburgh, which is like, I don't know, maybe 12, 13-hour drive. I'm not entirely sure. I've never driven to Pittsburgh, but I would rather go to a big competition than just drive for just a little test.
Yeah, I was just speaking in my my messages section with somebody. I believe she goes by Mead, the Mead Mage, and that's what we were talking about, is the lack of availability of tests for Mead judges. Because if you're trying to go for BJCP certification, you can only go to the ones that have sanctioned Mead events, and that's only like every 4th or 5th month that they have those. So I mean, like, you get like 1 or 2 options in the States, because that's where the majority of us are, and then you get like 1 in like South America and like 1 in like Australia or Europe or something, and that's pretty much it for the year. And if you can't make one of those, you're kind of SOL.
Yeah, one of the things that we noticed that too. Our homebrew club did Doze. So last year was our first year, and we're gonna continue making Mead exams available in the area annually in the fall. To just try. We had people come up from like San Diego and come down from the and so we had a full setup. We had a full 12 in the class with people on standby. We actually had 2 people that came to the test in case somebody fell out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We had about 14 people there. And so we're going to be doing another one again. And so if people are interested in coming to the Bay Area, I know it's far, but if there's people watching or anything like that too, want to come out to the Bay Area, we'll have one in the Oakland area in the fall.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, definitely reach out to Sidetrack over there if you're interested in that and you're in the California or you're at least willing to travel to that area. Yeah, my event only had, I want to say 4 or 5 people at it, and I felt like that was kind of a small event, but I mean, I'd never been to one, so I really didn't have anything to compare it against. So, man, if you guys had 14 people, you know, you have people in waiting, that's, I mean, I feel conflicted. It's like, that's awesome, but that's not awesome that there was people that didn't get to take their exam that wanted to.
Yeah. It wasn't, all the people that came were obviously more local. But it still was a bummer that we couldn't get everybody to take the exam. You know, it'd be cool if we could have 14 take the test.
Right. Yeah.
They're definitely first invited for the next test.
Definitely. Well, that's very cool, you guys, to take care of that. So Mead well, actually, you know what? Quick little, I guess we're already halfway through the show. What's everybody drinking tonight, if anything?
Nice.
Let's start with Kyle up there. What you got going on, Kyle?
I had some chamomile tea and I drink some water right now because I already had a mojito and yeah, I'm getting ready for bed.
Nice. All right, looks like Steven's got a bottle of something down there.
So I went to Lost Cause this weekend, and I had to pick up a bottle of Hell Nah, which is their meadow foam traditional.
Yes.
That's also aged in, I believe, bourbon barrels. It's great.
It's Billy's, so I can imagine it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And I did pick up a Chasing Alex while I was there. Yeah.
Bottle buddies. Wait, was that the date one?
It was the date shake, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm dying to get one of those. All right, Carlos, what you got over there, brother?
Well, it's hot as hell here in Texas, and this is one of my favorites. I keep at least 10 gallons of it on hand, so this is my lemon drop hopped lemon mead that's carbonated.
Yes, lemon drop hopped mead, 10 gallons on deck at all times. Hit up Carlos when you're ready. Swing through Texas, grab some lemon drop mead. That sounds phenomenal. Holy cow. All right, so as two, Carlos and Steven down there, as two guys getting ready to start judging some meads for your competition. Is this the first competition that you've judged?
For Mead, it is my first competition that I've judged.
Carlos?
Besides for the homebrew club, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was being
Awesome.
my first.
And what is it you guys are looking for? So did you, I guess, first of all, did they offer you the option to opt out of any categories?
Other than the one you submitted for, no.
Other than what you might have submitted for, fair enough. So what is it, what's the one, I guess I should say, that you're looking forward to the most? What category you would say, I'm really dying to try and see what a bunch of these cats got here?
Dry traditional.
Dry
Yeah.
traditionals. There you go. Your Pilsner of the mead world.
Yep. I feel like that's,
Nowhere to hide.
yeah, that's the one to go after. That's the one I really want to make, and I can't seem to ever perfect it.
Got you.
Want to see what
Carlo?
That's pretty good right there. I have a dry traditional that's going to competition right now. It's what, 20 months old now. It's a dry Tupelo, but it's missing body. That part I know. It's a little thin, but I'm setting it off. Get the feedback as far as the flavor goes and how everything else goes. Like I sent it to somebody else, and you know they're studying for their BJCP as well, and so they're kind of doing practice tests, whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to say he gave it like a 36 or 39, something like that, which isn't bad. But again, I knew it was lacking body, and that was one thing that was brought up. Is it's lacking body. But again,
Gotcha.
it's only an 8.5% dry traditional. So
And man, those session strength dries are so hard to do. I mean, there's a lot of nuance that goes into those, and people just like instantly want to say, "Oh, that's bad," because it's so potentially, for lack of a better term, offensive on the palate compared to like those berry bombs. You get a lot of tartness, a lot of astringency, a lot of these other characteristics that come along with those dry sessions. But I imagine that you're going to be doing all right with that in the future, man. You'll get that dialed in.
But aside from that, the one I would like to try would be pie mints.
Yes, pie mints. Big time on the pie mints. And Kyle, there is somebody who's sponsoring the sizer category. What would you like to see the sizer category bring to the table? What do you want to see that whoever wins that? What do you want to see out of that mead?
I'm hoping that there is good representation of both apple and honey. I feel like with a lot of the kind of blended categories like pie mint, for example, braggot, sometimes that some of the style can be lost in either too much grape, too much of the malt character. Having that balance is really challenging and really appreciated when it's there. So I would want to see something that's a unique varietal matched with a specific type of apple character. I just want to see I would be interested in seeing what they would come up with in terms of that overall flavor profile to see the balance. I'm not obviously going to be there to judge that, but I'm sure the winner would be somebody that does that. So,
Got you. Have you ever judged a sizer category before?
No, I've only judged a beer competition in my local homebrew club, but I'm trying to dive in more with. I judge a lot of commercial mead just based on my Instagram, and I like just trying stuff anyway. And one of my favorite combinations is apple with buckwheat. So I just really think that some of the honey can provide some of that spice note in there, where you don't necessarily need to add cinnamon. You don't necessarily need to add clove or whatever, vanilla. Like, you can get that from the honey varietal, and I think that's something that is should be noted and should be a goal for a mead maker making a sizer.
I agree. The few sizers that I have had, when they've had a distinguished varietal of honey, it definitely brought more unique characteristics to it than when the ones that were done with just like a wildflower honey or a non-disclosed honey. The Ancient Fire that, well, unfortunately is no longer operational, but they had one called Buckwheat Bonsai, and that thing was a barrel-aged buckwheat honey sizer, and oh my gosh, unfortunately I judge all sizers against that now.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, that
so good.
That thing was just outrageously amazing. Yeah, anybody, if you can go out and find a bottle from somebody, definitely look for some Ancient Fire stuff floating around in your trade circles and groups and whatever you can, because that stuff was phenomenal. So we've got, I think there was 200 and I want to say 27 entries the last time that the Mead Stampede website was updated. 227 entries. This is a no slough competition. I mean, this is basically like in real legitimate competition territory as far as number of entrants, type of category, variety of categories and whatnot. Carlos, where do you see the Mead Stampede going next year and into the future? Do you see it growing? Do you see it morphing in any way? Do you see it just kind of continuing to be what it is, just in a bigger scale?
Oh man, I see it actually growing into, not that it's not in my eyes, into a lot of people, it's a legitimate competition. Yeah, it's
Sure.
It's not.
I guess by legitimate, I mean by like sanctioned by a recognized organization.
Yeah, and I would like next year. I'd like to see it get the recognition. Just because the attention it has gotten from so many people. Again, 227 entries. That's that's a normal sanctioned competition right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
I would like to see it get to that point, and with the committee that they have behind it, with Silent Rob, help leading the charge with that. Everyone, I'm trying to get my certification. Like all the judges are trying, so we're it's making a big push to become a legitimate sanctioned competition. But even if it doesn't get there, the notoriety that's going to get from everybody, the feedback that people are going to get, guys, everyone trying to get their certification. Yeah, we're trying to give the best feedback that we can. We're putting our best foot forward. The whole Mead Stampede competition as a whole is putting a good face and representation forward to, show that not that anybody can do it, but it's going to be done.
Right.
It's not going to be a pushover competition. This is going to be a legit, whether it's sanctioned or not, it's going to be a competition.
With legitimate feedback from people who know what they're talking about, who are going to give you, like I said, that proper amount of feedback to propel you to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, man, I'm got my fingers crossed. I wanted to judge this competition so much this year. I reached out and they had already had the whole situation already taken care of, but I said, please at least consider me for next year. I would love to come to Mead Stampede and take care of that. And I'm hoping by getting some entries in this year and whatnot, I might be able to be considered for the docket for next year. But what about you there, Stephen? Like, what do you want to see the future of this competition head off to be? Uh-oh.
Sorry, just cut
There
out
we go. Where do you see the competition going? Where do you want it to be?
Well, I think where it's on a freaking rocket ship right now, going straight to, all the big boys, Valkyries and all that. I would compare it to something like Orpheus, which isn't sanctioned, and that racks up a lot of entries every year. It's coming up July 23rd, I think, is Orpheus Mead Fest.
Yes, it is.
And that's one of those bigger mead comps that I think it's the second year and it's already at that level, I would say. I am really excited to see what BC and Faywood and Man-Made Mead, they're kind of their ideas behind it, how they want to evolve it. If they want to start bringing in the public and doing a big mead fest, that would be super rad. Just get everybody, the community together, because I feel like all those, everyone on there is just about the people, bringing everyone together. Just we're all having fun making mead and learning and growing together. And I think that some public gatherings and things like that, just make it to where more people can have this experience, would be a big step. And it's probably
Yeah, I agree. Kyle, do you see them expanding to like a commercial section as well, or do you see this Mead Stampede as staying like a homebrew competition?
I hope it stays just homebrew because of just how the community oriented the comp is in general. I see it even growing more just in terms of like number of entries you're allowed, because right now it's 4, and like I know there's some heavy hitters out there that go for like the max of 10 or whatever. But it's really cool to see that this is a mead-only competition that's rising the way it is. And it is very reminiscent of like Valkyrie's Horn, which they started out a little on the smaller side, and then they just rapidly grew and grew and grew. And I feel like what I love about this one is that I know the faces. I've interacted with them. They've been a lot of good people during the pandemic to interact with. We've all improved in our hobby. We've all improved in judging meads and giving feedback, in just being there for each other as we're growing and taking in more people. So I feel like I kind of hope it's just for homebrew.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's plenty of competitions out. Well, I say there's plenty of competitions, but there's a large number of competitions out there that support commercial and home brewer alike. And to have like you said, a community that's so tight knit and so organized together to be able to support themselves in such a way. I agree. It's it's a very cool and unique thing, and it would be nice if it could be able to stay that way. It looks like Tony over there on Mesencop Meadery said, I think Mead Stampede is awesome, specifically because judges, most of the judges, if not all, because most, if not all judges make mead, if I'm not mistaken. Most cups I've only been to are judged by just, regular people and whatnot, which is, I believe the as he said, is the case in this instance. Stephen?
Yeah. I mean, everybody that is on the judge panel is in the Discords and all make mead together.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were going to say something before I cut you off there. I apologize.
Oh, I was going to just kind of also, we were talking about commercial and homebrew.
Yeah.
I mean, commercial comps, they don't even, when you go to judge California Craft Beer Cup or something like that, you write almost nothing on the score. They don't, because they know what they made. They're professional people. They're not looking for feedback. They're just looking for a medal. So it kind of is it's a very different score sheet and focus than I feel like BC and everybody's pushing on trying to give a lot of feedback and being very positive and trying to help people. I agree that it should stay. Yeah.
The homebrew related, or
One thing I want to add
please.
is like a lot of people that are entering Mead Stampede are part of the Discord server between Doing the Most and Man-Made Mead, and there's some that are outside of it. But one thing that I'm interested to see is I know that we have the potential to be tasting somebody's mead that had asked on the Discord, hey, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, somebody, can you guide me a little bit? And so we're going to get to try those ones and give feedback. And so that, that kind of brings the community back together of like, hey, we helped you, we're tasting your stuff, now you're getting actual feedback. But that also helps, hey, don't be afraid to ask. These guys are giving you legit feedback. They're getting you to try your stuff now.
Right.
And you're getting the feedback from what they told you. So, it's like, I told you to do something, now you're going to send it to me to try, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I told you to do that. That was my bad. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or, this is really good. So it's a community building exercise kind of thing.
Exactly, and that's what I like about the homebrew community. Like, the more I get into the mead world and get my fingers this, farther and deeper into it, the homebrew community seems to be much more, I would say maybe much less selective, I guess, who they're welcoming in. It seems to be, if you got questions, you answer questions. There seems to be a little bit of, I don't know what the word for it is, a little bit of competition, I guess, in the commercial world, where some people have these views of this type of mead, or some people have this views of these types of mead makers and stuff. And there's a little bit of butting heads. But in the homebrew community, it seems everybody's on pretty much the same page as, we're all in this together. We're all trying to just make a better product, and we're trying to, help everybody produce the best quality thing that they can, so we can all, all be drinking good quality shit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know that that's, where a lot of these cats are at. So, man, 227. I want to pull that up just on the last Mead Stampede thing that I read. All right, so as of now, this is about a month before they shut it down. They had 14 for the cattle battle. Now, the cattle battle was the group of ingredients that was pulled together from, I believe, a judging or a voting. I'm sorry, not a judging, a voting from people. It was 3 different ingredients that I put together that had to be in the mead. Now, you could put them in primary, you could put them in secondary, however you wanted to do it, but you had to include these ingredients for the cattle battle. Is that correct, Carlos?
So the way it worked out is the hosts, as we're from, Mandy, BC, and Man-Made Mead, they came together and like, we want to make a challenge, basically. Let's make a mead that the rest of the competition will make, and whoever basically gets closest to the original style,
okay,
to their to the way they made it, it would be the winner for the cattle battle challenge.
Steven,
so
you're
it's
shaking your
interesting.
head.
It's interesting because you only have a list of ingredients, and there's
Right.
100 ways that you can put them together. Let's see who can get the closest.
Steven, it seems like you're playing the Mead lottery here, bro.
The Mead lot? Yeah, you definitely are. You know, you don't know whether to put something in secondary, primary.
Right.
You know, you don't know how much to add of anything. It's a complete gamble, but you gotta. I think it also goes out to a little bit to their fans and figuring out what would they do. How many videos of theirs have you watched, and what do you think they would do in that situation? So
Exactly. How big of a fan are you really?
yeah.
Yes, that's great. Oh man. So yeah, we have 4. Go ahead.
Completely unique. Where else are you gonna find it like that? I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm trying to scroll through here. I'm trying to see what the cattle battle ingredients were. I can't even find that on here. Does anybody know?
Chai, vanilla, and pear.
There you go.
Chai, vanilla, and pear. Oh my goodness, that has so much potential to be an amazing, amazing mead.
It's probably gonna be a lot of them. A lot of really good ones in that category.
Yeah, and so they, like I said, they had 14 going for that one. So they had again, this was about a month before entries closed. Back on May 15th, they had 8 dries for traditional, 14 semi-sweets, 8 sweet mead traditionals. Only 2 were entered in the sizer category, Kyle.
Yeah, they I heard something like an update on that, and it was like 9 or 10 now or something. Like there've been quite a few entries like since that that kind of screenshot of what people were entering, because they were highlighting like, oh, you should enter some pie mints, you should enter some sizers. Like they were wanting people to kind of get out there and try to get some medals in those underrepresented categories. And like I was telling some people on the Discord, I was like, yeah, like I think one of the reasons why sizer is a underrepresented category is because most of the time it's fruit and spice. It's usually not just pure sizer. So
yeah, that's a good point. Looks like 8 Too Many Onions is looking forward to seeing how Mead Stampede goes. Hopes to get some knowledge. That's my favorite kind. Some knowledge. I like that. Cattle Battle looks fun, if only because it's so homebrew driven. And I agree. You don't see a lot of the commercial mead makers going too far. I mean, there are some people that definitely branch out and do their thing. I don't want to bag on all the commercial mead makers, but like, who's the cat over there in Virginia? Funktastic. That cat had a mead. He literally aged the mead on smoked bacon. Yeah. Not a clue how it turned out, but this cat's aged mead on smoked bacon. And I know like Unpossible Mead did a green tomato mead. I mean, there's definitely some unique concepts out there and stuff, but to chai, vanilla, pear. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, those are actually all flavors that really jive together potentially. And I think that could be like a really nice, set of different brews. I mean, what really sucks is you could make a really kick-ass mead and not win because you didn't match up what they were looking for, but it could still be like, a nice 44 or something like that.
Could be a perfect 50 if it's not the same.
Yeah, it could be a perfect 50 and still not win. Tally them fucking bananas.
I think that lends itself to a kind of a beginner potentially winning too.
Yeah. What do you mean? Expand a little bit on that, Kyle.
Yeah, so like maybe the beginner has maybe they won't make that 50 the first time. Maybe they're not going to make like that best of show kind of, not effort, but they just don't have enough meads in their wheelhouse yet. So they go on a limb and they win that lottery of nailing down those ingredients, and it will then help motivate them to you know, they're like, oh, I won a medal. Like, let's go after some more, or let's see what happened here. And I think that's pretty inviting to a lot of folks.
Looks like Tap Savvy here down in Arizona says, we sell the shit out of sweeter meads. We don't know why that is. Sweeter meads are easier to sell because they're much more appealing on the palate. Drier meads come off like dry wines and sizers, and they're typically much, you need more, I would say, my terminology, nobody else's, you need a more like elevated or expanded or at least more open palate to try those things. A lot of times people grab a dry mead of any sort of variety, you know, piment, sizer, or otherwise, and just instantly hits them like, ooh, that's not what I was expecting at all. You said this wasn't like wine.
It's also honey. Honey is, we're used to eating honey in its normal form of being sweet. So it's one of those things where people already have that conception. And also humans just love sweet things anyway. That sugar source, we've just been evolved to enjoy that.
Yeah, I think the human palate over, you know, thousands of years of evolution, sweet equals fat equals preservation equals I'm get to live. So you just like it more. Looks like I've said, again, ate too many onions, says Americans prefer sweeter wine, so it's not a big surprise. No, you're right. I mean, Americans love everything that's sweet regardless, but I think sweet meads just in general, I mean, if you look at like the Polish style, most Polish meads, most certainly not American at all, very, very, very sweet. I mean, all the Polish ones that I've had, the one or two Truniaks and one or two Drwuniaks. I can't pronounce Polish. I'm terrible at that. But the handful that I've had were definitely on the strong sweet side.
Yeah.
So, we see here. We've got other categories are aiming low. Oh, historical meads. Speaking of Polishes, have any of you guys had a Polish or like a Tej, you know, from Ethiopia or something like that? Stephen, you're nodding yes.
Yeah, there's one guy in Doze who is, he's got like 15 Mazer cups, and a lot of them are Dwoniaks. They're all Polish style meads, all heavy hitters. You know, it's going to be 15% plus. And they're phenomenal. He made it, speaking of like apple with buckwheat, he made a pear buckwheat. Blew my mind.
Is that Christoph?
You know, Christoph is in Doze, but it's Pavel that I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Who's in Poland?
Cool.
He's actually in Poland right now.
Nice.
Yeah. But I'm trying secrets the best I can. Trying to get him to mentor me. Get some in. So I'm trying. And then we got some good meat makers in Doze. Harindu has done really well for himself, and he's gotten a few cups, and Chris mentioned too. So
yeah,
like 6 of us mead makers in Doze. I'm the newest one because I just started this and learning as much as I can, just trying to absorb it all.
And that's the thing with those Polish meads is, you know, they take, you know, that's the whole thing with like what gives them the specific flavor profiles is that all that micro-oxidization from the years of just sitting there and aging, you know, like Kyle and I were discussing in our interview a couple weeks ago, if you get like, you know, those juicy fruity flavors, if you get that like true natural fruit flavor, you know somebody added something in it that's suspect because you're not getting that oxidization. You should be getting that like that slightly tart, that I say irony, but like, you know, that oxidization type of taste that comes from that sherry type of taste, you know. If you're not getting that, man, something about your Polish is suspect as fuck.
And a lot of buckwheat. There's a lot of buckwheat in a lot of their meads, I've noticed, and pretty heavy too.
And I'm okay with that personally. I like a good funky buckwheat honey. I like a good funky honey. Anything that's out of the norm from just boring sweet honey.
Yeah.
Yes. How about Tejas? Carlos, have you ever had a Tej or made one?
No, I haven't. It's on the bucket list to do. It's just, yeah. I'm not saying it's not one that I'm not interested in because I am. It's just
Haven't come across it.
yeah, it just hasn't come across, for me to do it just because I'm working on so much other stuff right now to try to get a good starting lineup going for the near future.
I got you. Have either of you, Kyle or Stephen, had a Tej or no?
There's actually a really famous spot here in England that does one, and I have yet to go there. I don't know why.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
my sister lives just outside of Boston, and she was telling me, "Oh, I got to take you to this Ethiopian place. They have a thing called honey wine there, so I want to go and get some of the Tej there." And but like,
hell yeah!
Some of my thoughts about historical is like there's Tej, there's the Polish style. Those are like the
two big ones
in competition. But then there's like some of these meads that they made in antiquity, like people shouldn't try to emulate because they were made for something completely different than just enjoyment. Some of them were made for like putting down the medicine, like that's the original term for metheglin. It like derives from that kind of lineage.
Right.
And some of these like ancient kind of meads, like you don't want to be putting that in your mouth, like, but at the same time, you can like get inspired by some of these things. There's also like different cultures with mead history. I think there's Sima from Finland, which is kind of like a lemon kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure, but that's something as a judge I want to get exposed to because, and like judging these competitions, that's a good way to gain some exposure because some of these aren't made commercially. Some of these are just made at the homebrew level. Some of these are just family recipes, that kind of thing. And that's where I really want to, like, I don't really have the space to make all these types of meads, but if I'm a judge, I can experience all these different kinds of meads. And I think that's really impactful.
Yeah. I look at it like I would love to travel the world and see people's home ferments, kind of like if you're going to travel the world, like, yeah, it's cool to go to like the Michelin star restaurants, but like the legit food is coming from like some grandma's house in some back alleyway somewhere that's got to have like, where all the locals like know where to go and stuff like that. That's the real spot. The place has got that mop bucket in the corner and it's got like, dirty fucking menus, if menus at all, and they don't just bring you food. Like that, those are the type of places I want to try meat from. It's, like you said, that family recipe that's been passed down through the generations. Everybody always posts these things. Mead is the oldest fermented beverage, 8,000 years. And like here we are talking about the historical category, and we can name Tej and we can name Polish, and maybe between the four of us we could name another 1, 2, or 3. And there has to be at least, a significant amount more that we're all missing. Maybe Jägermeister out of Germany is probably not far off from what could have been a mead. You add some honey into your Jägermeister, and that's pretty much what you got to metheglin right there, pal. As gross as that would be. So we are coming up on the 7 o'clock hour here. It looks like I got we are on schedule for an hour. If anybody needs to take off, Kyle, it looks like you're up against, you have 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock there, or whatever it is. You need to jam out, feel free to go ahead. Anybody who's willing to keep going, we're having a good time tonight. I would like to keep going for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Here we go. Tony says, is that Blache down in Mexico? I don't know what that is. I'm sure, assuming I pronounced that terribly, but, so there's another stuff down in Mexico. I've talked to Tony many different times about like pulque and other sorts of fermented beverages down there that may or may not involve honey. And I can only imagine that those would, be something that you would see all around the world, because you got different, sugar can only come from so many different sources, you know what I mean? Like, here's another question. How about a beet mead? Has anybody seen a beet mead or done a beet mead?
I've seen it. I haven't made it.
Oh, where'd you see that at? That sounds interesting.
The guy that taught me how to make mead made it.
But you never had it. That sounds interesting, though. I mean, I imagine it would be like blood red in color because of the beets. But
yeah,
holy cow, man! And then I would love to see something fermented with just straight like raw cane sugar. I'm sure that's got a whole name all in and of itself, other than just sugar wine.
Hooch.
Pretty much what it would be. Hooch, yeah.
Yeah, right.
And you
All right,
also
so
have like
Mexico's
chicha.
historical mead is called Balche. No, I should have assumed that, Tony. My bad. So that's what I'm saying. So here's another historical that we're at least I'm learning about. Maybe y'all are already aware of that, but all these different historical types. I would like to see the historical category expanded out through some of these ones that are more like lost to the ages. Maybe you're right, Kyle. Maybe some of them should say lost to the ages because they're going to taste like, pine tar and gasoline.
Another one that I think is considered a historical, even though it might not be as old,
Yeah.
would be chicha, because they've been doing that for a while.
I'm not quite sure what that is.
You take corn, you chew it, and you spit it into a vat, and it ferments because the corn breaks down with the saliva amylase and converts it to sugar. And,
all right, let's put that up there with the cat monkey poo coffee stuff.
But for like last year, the Great Mead Project, I made a chicha inspired mead, because I used purple corn. Boiled it down, broke it down with amylase, and then added the mango and habanero to it. And I didn't chew it, but
right.
that
one was. I had that one. That was really good. I liked that one a lot.
They weren't too bad. The mango habanero I made before that was definitely a lot better, but I ended up using the wrong mangoes because that's all I could find at the time.
Yeah, I can only imagine how difficult it would be to pull some of these different random things together when you're like, I want to pull this together now, and oh crap, this is all I have, and I don't have time to wait.
Yeah, that reminds me of the there's some like mead recipes where it's like, oh, take 10 paces to the left, to the eastward thing or whatever, and then do the hokey pokey and take this leaf from the fine ashes of whatever, and like there's a huge preamble with the recipes. And
I see you've made an Ancient Joe's orange mead.
Oh, that historical variety, awesome.
Our good friend Ancient Joe.
Last year for me, Stampede, somebody did one for historical. It was something similar to that, where it was like boil it for the amount of time it takes you to walk like an acre and back.
Yeah, didn't he post one of the Discords too? I think he threw the recipe up too. And
he has there's a YouTube channel that they have up where they made this.
Was that like that wasn't Rag
and Bone.
Oh
yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm dying to see what their commercial meadery makes. I've heard, like, I've followed them for a little while. I'm really interested to see what they end up coming out with. Has anybody had any of their stuff?
Yeah, last year for the Great Mead Project,
you just mentioned that.
Yeah, they sent me a bottle. They aged their mead in like because one of the ingredients was corn. They aged their mead in a corn rye whiskey barrel or something like that.
Sure.
And that was actually really good. I liked it. Like they have some pretty good. They sent me some other stuff too as well, and they make some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what their commercial setup ends up looking like. Because if memory serves, they got that. Anybody who doesn't follow Rag and Bone, go check them out. Rag and Bone Meadery here on Instagram. I think they got a Facebook thing too. It's I believe husband and wife. They're married now.
Yep. And
they've got a meadery they're trying to open out of a reclaimed greenhouse in their backyard that they do like events out of. It's a whole thing. They just seem like genuinely cool, like artisanal craft people and just great people in general. So go check them out. Anybody who hasn't. So
yeah. And behind every mead they make too, they have a story that goes along with it. Because I know because they also have a YouTube channel, and on that channel they would do a whole like backstory on the mead and talk you through it. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and they do mead reviews. I think they've been kind of quiet lately, trying to get their commercial stuff going on and whatever. But they do like mead reviews and, like you said, behind the scenes mead making videos and stuff. Yeah, so definitely go give them cats a scope out, at least to say the least. Nice comments going on here down here in the section here, but So Mead Stampede. When is the judging? Is this coming weekend or next weekend?
Next weekend.
So next week, so the weekend after the 4th of July.
Yep.
And you guys are flying out there for a couple of days, I'm assuming?
Yeah,
Or
we got
going to be out there for a couple of days, fly, drive, swim, whatever?
we got a whole house set up for the
Okay.
judges. Yeah, like I'm driving up. There's a couple guys. I think somebody else is driving up. Everyone else is flying in.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna get together. The committee already has everything set up, so the judges don't have to mess with the like a normal competition. The judges don't mess with the
Anything.
sorting and anything. So that way we can't pre-see anything. And then so we're just gonna judge and enjoy ourselves. I got a whole box of mead that I'm taking up there. To kind of on the
Bottle
side.
share.
Bottle share on the side, judge, hey, give me some feedback on this kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's why I'm dying to go next year. I'm hoping I'm gonna try to get a couple cranked out this year, so at least maybe next year I can show up and have a couple bottles. Uh-oh, looks like Steven's gone to the white circle of death. Sidetrack has left the party. But well, we're coming up here at 5 after 7 anyway. So me Stampede 2021 or 2022 getting ready to commence here. What would you say, Carlos, is the biggest thing that you're looking forward to out of this competition?
Basically the camaraderie, because it's bringing the community itself to a lot closer, because they're supporting one competition
Right.
in such a great capacity in as short a time as it's grown. Because last year was year 1, this year's year 2. Just the way it's grown in these 2 years just shows you how tight the meat community can be. And so, and everybody in the Discord, everyone's all excited about it. So, everyone's like, oh, the chatter back and forth. I try to stay out of it just because, I'm not trying to see, I don't want to get any hints or ideas of what's going on. Like I said earlier, I follow a lot of the people from the Discord here on Instagram or Facebook, and they'll post something, and I'll scroll real fast so I don't read it.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's just the camaraderie and the way it's going to bring the whole community close before and after the competition.
And what about you, Kyle? What do you see the Mead Stampede like? What do you want to see come out of this whole experience for everybody?
Just a deeper appreciation for our community, and just to highlight how good people have, how much people have grown in making mead, because especially the first year to this year, I'm assuming that there's going to be just a lot of growth, and probably similar situations that I had, where it's like, okay, first year I sent some meads that I knew needed some work. I wanted some feedback. And then this year I did a lot of work in the past year to improve my meads. And this year I'm looking forward to the judges tasting something a little more polished, and also just how much I've gained out of the community. I want others to experience that. So I'm hoping that's what happens, is that they can gain that experience and just get the most of it out of it.
Would you lend that same type of advice to somebody who's just entered the competition, or they've never entered they haven't entered a large number of competitions, if any at all, as to just just take the feedback constructively and go from there?
Yeah, I think I think people need to remember that these judges, they don't know who you are. They don't know who made the mead. They are just judging the mead for what it is. And just to take that both with a grain of salt, but also this feedback's really good, because last year what I did is I sent some of these meads to some other, I got the same exact feedback. And some of these competitions have been around a while, and they've had some judges around. So it's like, even though they weren't, even though Mead Stampede isn't one of those AHA recognized competitions, it still provides really good feedback. And the other thing I think that's important to throw in the mix is that Oh, so for Mead Stampede, that
Yes.
feedback is so great, and especially compared to like some of the bigger competitions where people are just after those medals. People aren't
Yeah.
necessarily after some of that feedback. They're just after a medal. So some of the judges, they do abbreviated score sheets. There's some competitions that I'm not going to blast any competitions on here, but there's some
Sure.
competition feedback where it's like, I really didn't get much that I could have worked with on this. There wasn't any tinkering, there wasn't any suggestions or anything. So it was
Yeah.
one of those things where I didn't really get much out of it, and that didn't help me. What helped me was getting the constructive feedback from a competition like Mead Stampede.
Now, as somebody who was judged the competition prior to being a home brewer, I didn't really necessarily feel like I was in my place to give any suggestions on how to improve your brews. So anybody who ever got any of my score sheets, they definitely did not include any of that information. So I had to apologize to those people. But I didn't feel like I felt like I would have been doing them a disservice to tell them something that I was not confident or familiar with in myself. After having a couple brews under my belt, now I'm starting to recognize a few things, and when I taste different meads, I can see like, okay, so that's what caused this, or hey, I recognize that from something I've done. So yeah, it's a thing, I guess would be the best way to put it. Man, you just if you can take away the competition, take away from the competition, just know that, like you said, the people aren't there. They don't know you. They don't know who you are, what your meat is. They're just trying to give you as much constructive criticism they can from their experience in working with the products, and just take it all with a grain of salt, so to speak. But don't put any salt in your meat unless it's part of the recipe. Welcome back, Steven.
Hey, sorry for my phone dying.
Hey, it's technological difficulties. I would always say it wouldn't be TK Drinks if we didn't have something along those lines. So I'll ask you the same thing I asked these guys. What are you looking for to see out of Mead Stampede this year? What do you want to see come out of the whole experience?
I think what I'm most excited for is just it goes back to just the community, and I've talked with a lot of these staff members and judges for so long that being able to kind of hang with them is going to be great. Drinking meads, like Carlos said, where we've kind of coached a little bit and helped, and being able to kind of, we won't know until
Right.
I don't think ever.
Sometimes never.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know. But being able to drink some of the meads that we may have coached for, but could be really cool. We wouldn't even know until they told us that our name was on their score sheet.
Yeah.
And it's I'm just I think the big part of it is just the people. I'm really excited for the people in it.
Yeah, that would definitely be the most exciting thing for me, just to see as somebody who, when I went to my first competition, had never seen that large a variety of meads in one place before. It gets overwhelming to look just at this cornucopia, this sea of bottles, and it's like, man, that's all somebody's love of passion and labor and everything right there. And each one of those is, a passion project, hopefully. And to have to sit there and to put, numbers on everything kind of makes me feel, I don't know what the word for it is. It lets me feel like honored that somebody would trust me with their bottle, with their passion, to say, hey man, I trust you enough at this competition to do what you do and let me know what you think about this. Because a lot of people are pretty, and the reason I say that because I'm chief amongst them, really stubborn to let you know, like, what's going on with their stuff. Like I'm a real hesitant to let you know what's going on with my products and stuff like that. I really don't want to. I don't know. I feel like I'm giving away trade secrets, but I fuel a show that runs off of people like letting their trade secrets go. So it's this interesting dichotomy that I go up against.
Yeah, the community in the mead world that we have, I feel like it's, in some discords, I feel like it's very open. You can ask anybody for their entire, and they'll just hand it to you almost, I feel like. Um,
100%.
yeah, it's everybody. It's such a small, tight knit community, and it kind of makes going into competitions even more fun because you know everybody you're competing with. And it's like friendly little races, you know. You recognize everybody's name on there, and you're like, oh yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, there's Sidetrack, there's Off Balance, there's Seven Circle, there's NEK, there's Texas Longhouse. I know all these guys already. Now I'm going to be chief amongst them, or be amongst them, and hopefully I can at least battle out in some sort of respective manner. Yes, I'm definitely glad to be amongst all y'all in the Mead competition world. I feel like I have fantastic people to sharpen my steel against, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
So Mead Stampede being judged not this weekend, but weekend following 4th of July. Everybody's heading out to, I believe, Oklahoma City area for a couple days or a day or two of whatever's going on. And then we'll get the results back sometime, I'm guessing, like beginning of August, mid-August sometime.
I thought they were trying to do some awards thing on Sunday. I thought they were trying to get it really dialed in and knocked out.
Oh, okay.
Do that, but Carlos, do you remember? I thought Rob had mentioned, or somebody had mentioned Sunday, like an awards thing. But I don't know if maybe it's just a video, like recorded thing.
Yeah, my understanding was that Sunday we're gonna announce the winners. But as far as everybody getting their score sheets back, I want to say Rob said it should be like the first week of August. If I don't quote me on that, but
right.
Trying to remember everything that was going on.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to pull up on the website here.
About that, but they're trying to announce that weekend.
Yeah, I think there was some talk in the Discord about in the beginning of August of some variety.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. So that would be interesting to see how that all plays out. Regardless, I'm just excited to see I'd be interested to know how many entrants the competition had last year versus how many we got going this year and whatnot. Because, like I said, last 227 for the last mentioned number of entries, and holy cow. I'm just absolutely blown away that this is going to be as huge as it is. So, if there's anybody that's watching has any questions they want to get in before we close this thing down, please shoot those across now. Definitely.
Mead Stampede last year in 2021 had 131 entries.
131. So we've got I would say we're probably double that. 260 entries is probably a safe bet.
Yeah. And Orpheus this year, with it closed out right now, has 136. So it's bigger than Orpheus right now. Yeah. So
how is this not one of the? I take my phrasing back. If I said legitimate competition or not legitimate, this is most definitely the legitimate competition of the summer, at least. I mean, or at least of the season. Holy cow! I mean, I don't even know how to put that, but you kind of blew my mind. But Orpheus had half as many as Mead Stampede.
Yeah, 136 paid. I just checked. Yeah.
Dude, that's freaking bananas, man! All I know that tells me I need to start entering Orpheus Cup. Holy cow! So
I feel like that's one of the competitions that's you got the main five, like Valkyries and Midwinter and whatnot. There's like a main five, Mazer Cup.
Yeah.
And I feel like Orpheus was always like right under. And then I feel like this is going to become, it already is something big,
Yeah, that's Orpheus Cup with no M, just Orpheus Cup. And I believe it's out of Texas? No.
That's in Colorado.
Yeah, out of Colorado as well. Okay. I knew it was either the same as Mazer Cup or Texas Mead Cup, but yeah, Orpheus Cup, another good one to get behind if you're looking to shoot meads out there for some medals and some judging. I would personally like to see some of these competitions move to possibly the winter months, so we don't have to worry about bottles exploding. And because when I shipped my bottles out of here to over to Mead Stampede, I think it was about 113 degrees the day I sent them in the UPS truck, and I felt like an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of competitions that are toward the beginning of fall / winter
So many.
area. I think for that reason.
Yeah, but quite a
There was,
majority.
there was talk last year at Mazer Cup about moving the they moved the location of it from Colorado to somewhere a little more centralized. I think it's Kansas City this year, the week after Valkyrie's Cup. So if you hit Valkyrie's Cup, you can go to Mazer Cup and only be within a couple days of each other. But move into somewhere for that same reason, somewhere where a time of the year when it wasn't nearly as hot for everybody to ship bottles, because you get so many potential bottle bombs and stuff that happens from 127 degrees of shipping. But holy cow. All right. It is 7:20. It doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in, unfortunately, but I appreciate all three of you gentlemen joining me this evening. Thank you to everybody who stopped by tonight asking some questions. So be on the lookout, everybody. Mead Stampede. Go give them a follow on the Facebook. They got the Facebook page. Any hashtag Mead Stampedes, anything you got going on out there, give those a follow as well. Go follow NEK Meads. Go follow Texas Longhouse. Go follow Sidetrack Meads. And do all that stuff. If you follow me, obviously you're here. TK and Drinks. Do what you do. And I'll be back next week with another interview. And be on the lookout again for everybody who's got stuff in Orpheus Cup. It'd be on the Orpheus Cup. They got me all messed up. Anybody who's got stuff at Mead Stampede, be on the lookout to those results coming here at the beginning, sometime in August. And look out, follow that again page for any updates or anything that they might be flowing out. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Kyle, for all being here tonight. I appreciate you all, family.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Yeah.
Have a good night.
Cheers, everybody. Have a good evening. Baggity bam.